For every swing, every moment, the Milwaukee Brewers fight. It's not just about hitting the ball, it's about leaving a legacy.
Hello, Brew Crew. A warm welcome to our channel, your #1 source for in-depth analysis and exclusive news about our Milwaukee Brewers. Before we dive into today's news, which is of extreme importance and will stir the heart of every single one of you, I have a sincere request. If you're not yet part of our community, please subscribe to the channel right now. Click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Your subscription is crucial for me to continue bringing quality content with the speed and accuracy you deserve. Let's strengthen our fanbase nation. Subscribe. Now, let's get down to business. And unfortunately, the news I bring you today is the kind that leaves your heart in your throat. A gut punch in a moment of pure euphoria. We are in the playoffs. We secured the best record in the National League, had the luxury of a first-round bye, and entered the National League Division Series with sky-high morale. The opponent? An old and familiar divisional rival, the Chicago Cubs. The stage was set for a historic series, and Game 1, last Saturday, October 4th, started exactly as we dreamed, in overwhelming fashion. Milwaukee gave Chicago's pitchers no time to breathe, and at the center of it all was our young star, our phenom, Chorio. What he did in the first 2 innings was simply unbelievable, something for the annals of postseason history. Chorio became the first player in Major League Baseball history to record 3 hits in the first 2 innings of a playoff game. Yes, you heard that right. A single, a double, and 3 RBIs in the first inning alone, and another hit in the second. He was on fire, igniting American Family Field and showing the world the caliber of talent we have in Milwaukee. It was the performance of a rising superstar on baseball's biggest stage. The energy was palpable, the crowd was ecstatic, and a Game 1 victory seemed not just likely, but inevitable, with Chorio leading the charge. But, as cruel as baseball can be, fate played a terrible trick on us. In the midst of this monumental performance, our dream day turned into a nightmare. While running to first base after his 3rd hit of the game, a ground ball to third base in the 2nd inning, something went wrong. The play was close. The Cubs' third baseman, deep in the hole, made a desperate throw that bounced on its way. Chourio stretched his stride, pushing to secure the infield single. And it was at that exact moment that the camera caught him wincing in pain. He slowed down abruptly, and the image of him limping slightly was enough to send a chill down the spine of every Brewers fan. He was immediately removed from the game. The initial diagnosis, confirmed minutes later, was the worst we could have expected. A hamstring injury. The concern, my friends, is immense, and I will explain why with the seriousness the situation demands. This is not just any injury. Manager Pat Murphy, in a quick in-game interview with the TBS broadcast, did not hide the team's apprehension. He confirmed that the injury was to the same hamstring that sidelined Chorio for a significant period in August. For those who don't remember, Chorio suffered the original injury on July 29th while trying to stretch a double into a triple. That injury landed him on the injured list for over a month, and he was only activated on August 30th. It was a dark period for the team and the player, and the memory of that absence is still fresh in our minds. The fact that it's a recurrence of the same injury is a massive red flag. Hamstring injuries are treacherous. They can be easily aggravated, and a new injury in the same spot suggests a weakness that may not have been fully healed. This raises serious questions about his previous rehabilitation process, and more importantly, about his immediate future in this postseason. The real possibility, and I have to be honest with you, is that this injury could sideline our young star not just for the rest of the series against the Cubs, but for the entirety of the playoff run, should we advance. Losing a player of Chorio's caliber, who was in such a spectacular moment, is a devastating blow to our championship aspirations. The dynamic of our offense changes completely without his speed, his hitting prowess, and the contagious energy he brings to the lineup and the field. We are talking about a player who was, literally, making history moments before getting hurt. The psychological impact of this on the roster also cannot be underestimated. After the game, amidst a victory atmosphere clouded by concern, Chourio spoke to the press. His words brought a mix of relief and skepticism. He stated that, physically, he feels pretty good. He added that he wanted to stay in the game, but given the large lead the Brewers had already built, the coaching staff decided to be precautionary and took him out. Chorio went further, and when comparing the current feeling to the previous injury in July, he said he feels he is in a very good spot. Now, as an analyst, and above all, as a fan who has seen everything in this sport, I need to analyze this statement very carefully. On one hand, it's exactly what we wanted to hear. It's a breath of optimism. The word precautionary is music to our ears and suggests the injury may not be as severe as the one in August. The player's own confidence is an important factor and gives us hope that maybe he can return in this series. He knows his own body better than anyone. However, and this is where the pragmatic side and experience come in, we need to be cautious with optimism. High-level athletes are born competitors, driven by adrenaline. It's very common for a player to underestimate the severity of a situation right after an injury, driven by the desire to get back on the field and not let the team down, especially in the playoffs. Pat Murphy's concerned statement during the game directly contrasts with Chourio's apparent calm after the game. We have two narratives here: the manager's, who saw the injury happen and knows the player's history, and the player's, who is assessing his own feelings. Which one is closer to reality? The truth is, only imaging tests, like an MRI, can determine the exact extent of the damage to the hamstring. Until then, we are living in a limbo of uncertainty. The Brewers organization now faces a monumental strategic decision, one of those that can define a season's fate. They must decide whether to keep Chourio on the active NLDS roster, betting on his quick recovery and his optimistic words, or to replace him on the roster, ensuring a 100% healthy player for the series against the Cubs. The second option, however, carries a brutal consequence. If Chourio is removed from the NLDS roster, he automatically becomes ineligible for the next round, the National League Championship Series, NLCS, should the Brewers advance. It's a high-stakes gamble. If the team believes they can beat the Cubs without him, and that he'll be ready for the NLCS, the swap makes sense. But what if the injury is minor, a matter of a few days, and we take him off the roster unnecessarily? On the other hand, if we keep him on the roster and he can't recover in time, we will play the entire series against a very dangerous rival with one less player on the bench, which drastically limits Pat Murphy's options in crucial moments of the game. It's a strategic crossroads. The impact of his absence, even for just 1 or 2 games, is profound. He is not just another outfielder. He is a central piece of our offensive puzzle. His ability to get on base, steal bases, and drive in runs creates opportunities that few on our roster can replicate. Without him, the pressure on the shoulders of players like William Contreras and Christian Yelich increases exponentially. The defense also misses him, as his speed and range in the outfield are elite. In summary, the situation is this: we have a crucial Game 1 victory, but we lost, perhaps temporarily, our most electric and productive player on a play that took us from heaven to hell in seconds. We have the worried words of our manager and the optimistic statements of our young star, and we have a roster decision that could impact our entire postseason journey. Now I want to hear from you, the Brew Crew, the nation that pulses with this team. Analyzing all the facts, the recurring injury, the statements from Chorio and Murphy, and the strategic risk involved, what would be your decision? Would you keep Chourio on the roster for the NLDS, running the risk of playing a man down, hoping for a miraculous return? Or would you replace him, ensuring a full roster against the Cubs, but losing him for a potential league championship series? Leave your opinions in the comments below. Don't forget, for real-time updates and detailed analysis as soon as new information on Chourio's condition emerges, be sure you are subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on. I will be on standby, bringing everything to you firsthand. Thank you for your viewership, and as always, go Brewers!